Adolf Hitler is giving a speech in a beer hall in Munich. Right behind him, in the column, a bomb has been hidden away and it is about to go off. The German carpenter and Nazi opponent, Gore Elsa, has planned this moment for months. He knew Hitler would be here tonight. He knew when exactly. The Führer would give a speech. Ella installed explosives with a time fuse at exactly 9:20 p.m. His bomb is supposed to detonate. The explosion causes the entire ceiling above the podium to collapse. 63 people get injured, 8 die. But Hitler isn't one of them. He left the beer hall earlier than expected at 9:07 p.m. Gore Elsa failed, but this was just one of many attempts to assassinate Hitler, one of almost 40. Today we take a look at some of the most spectacular plans to rid the world of the Nazi leader. Why did they all fail? How did he keep getting away? Was Hitler just that lucky? Or was there more to it? Mixi Media. This is Henning von Tesco, a first general staff officer in the V. At first, he's a supporter of Hitler when he seizes power in 1933, but that will soon change. Tesco's turning point comes in 1941 when Germany attacks the Soviet Union. He thinks Hitler's invasion is military madness. He thinks they will lose the war. But Tesco also has moral concerns. He knows about the mass murder of Jewish people. He knows what the regime is doing. A resolve forms within him. He's convinced that this mad dictator must be stopped at all cost. And in spring of 1943, Tesco makes his move. He manages to persuade his commander and chief gun von Kugler to invite Hitler to Smolin in the Soviet Union. Here, Tesco is stationed and the Führer agrees. On March 13th, 1943, he makes a stop over in Smolin. On his flight from Vensa to his headquarters in East Prussia, at lunch Tesco asks Lieutenant Colonel Brand, who is traveling with Hitler on the plane, for a favor. Brand is to deliver a package containing 2 bottles of Control Cognac to a friend of Tesco in East Prussia. Tesco tells him that he lost a bet instead of 2 bottles of alcohol. However, the package contains a bomb. With the detonator, Tesco wants to faint in airplane accident. His co-conspirator, Fabian F. Schlendorf, secretly activates the time pencil and then hands the package to Brunt. The plane takes off at around 300 p.m. On board are Hitler, Brunt, and the bomb. The bomb is supposed to explode. Within an hour, Schlendorf set the timer by crushing a glass vial filled with a corrosive liquid. In the time pencil, the airplane should crash at about the height of Minsk, but Hitler L, in his headquarters, unscathed. Brand had packed the package and the cold cargo hold the asset detonator had. Frozen Tesco immediately calls Hinbrand and tells him that he accidentally gave him the wrong package. The next day, Schlab Andor flies to East Prussia, exchanges the package with 2 bottles of KAC, and diffuses the bomb, producing videos. Like this one takes a lot of time, and we actually deal with math and science quite a bit. While building 3D scenes, a great way to approach such challenging subjects is Brilliant. Brilliant is a platform that helps you learn new skills across various subjects like math, programming, and artificial intelligence. With thousands of interactive lessons, you can customize the content to fit your needs and work through exercises at your own pace. For example, Brilliant offers a course on probability. You will learn the basics and how to make predictions using probability theory, if that's not your cup of tea. There's a vast library of other topics. New lessons are added every month if you want to check out Brilliant. You can get started today, scan this QR code, or visit brilliant.org and try it for free for a full 30 days. You'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. The link is in the description. Tesco's assassination attempt failed, but he didn't get caught either. In fact, he was part of a sworn circle of military resistance, fighters determined to kill Hitler, and they were far from giving up. A key figure in the group was Lieutenant Colonel Klaus Schank Graf v. Stauffenberg. Over the years, he became the head of the military conspiracy Tresco, and Stauffenberg were close companions, and they were always looking for a new opportunity to eliminate the Führer. They didn't have to wait for long. Fast forward 9 months. This is Axel Frere F. Deusser. He's an officer, almost 2 m tall, blonde, and has blue eyes. He truly embodies the Nazi ideal. This appearance is supposed to provide him with the perfect opportunity to kill Hitler. Von de Busch and a group of other soldiers are to present the new Vermont's uniform to Hitler at his headquarters. Von Buscher plans to use a hidden British hand grenade to blow himself up along with the dictator. But then, in Berlin, a railroad wagon is destroyed by an Allied bomb. It contained the new uniforms, no presentation. The meeting is postponed. By then, von Deusser isn't an option anymore. Just 1 month earlier, he was seriously wounded. One of his legs had to be amputated. Instead, Stalin now wants the 21-year-old Lieutenant Abel von K to trade his life for Hitler's death. The young lieutenant takes his time to think about it and agrees Fist is ready to do the job and prepares. But Hitler cancels the appointment on short notice on July 7th, 1944. The presentation of the new Wehrmacht uniforms finally takes place at a castle near Speer. This time, Major General Helmut is chosen as the assassin. He too is part of the resistance group. The odds of success are extremely high. An explosion at that distance is nearly unsurvivable. It's the perfect opportunity then. At the last minute, Steve hesitates and backs out. Sure, he wants to see Hitler dead, but he isn't willing to sacrifice his life for it. Yet, the group around Stauffenberg doesn't give up. They plan a new attack this time. Stauffenberg wants to do it himself. He aims not only to kill Hitler, but also to bring down the entire Nazi regime in one coordinated strike. In the early morning of July 20th, 1944, Stauffenberg and First Lieutenant Werner von Haften fly from Berlin to the Führer's headquarters. Stauffenberg is to report on the Eastern Front at a meeting with Hitler. It presents the perfect opportunity for Stauffenberg. He plans to arm 2 bombs in his briefcase, place it near Hitler during the meeting, and leave the room before the bombs go off. Then, he plans to fly back to Berlin, where he and other resistance fighters plan to take over power. After Hitler's death at the Führer's headquarters, Stauffenberg learns that the time of the meeting has been changed due to a visit of the Italian dictator Benito Mussolini. It is moved forward by half an hour at around 12:15. Stauffenberg pretends to want to change his shirt together with he wants to secretly activate the time fuse for the bomb before the meeting begins, but they get interrupted and told to hurry, not to be late for the meeting. Therefore, they can only arm one of the 2 explosives, so Stauffenberg doesn't pack the second one and leaves it with Heften. He then enters the meeting. He puts his briefcase down near his target. At the end of the table, Hitler and the bomb are now separated by only about 1. 3M Sten gives his report and then immediately leaves the room, supposedly to make an important phone call. Everything is going according to plan. A few minutes later, Hitler leans over the table to further discuss war strategy, and the bomb detonates. Stauffenberg watches the explosion from 200 m away and is certain Hitler is finally dead. He flies back to Berlin with Heften to continue Operation Valkyrie. They plan to blame the SS and the Gestapo for Hitler's death. Then they want to take power and put an end to the Nazi dictatorship. But Operation Valkyrie failed in the meeting room. The pressure wave caused the ceiling to collapse, and there is now a gaping hole in the floor. Where the briefcase once stood, the loud explosion ruptured the eardrums of almost everyone present. 4 people die. Almost all of the others are injured. Only 2 people got off lightly. One of them is Adolf Hitler. The fact that Hitler leaned over the table during the explosion saved his life. He was only thrown slightly upwards by the force of the explosion. If Stauffenberg had also placed a second bomb in his briefcase, the explosion probably also would have killed Hitler with the failed assassination attempt on Hitler. The planned coup to end the Nazi regime also fails only a few hours later. Stalin and the three other, their main plots, are shot that very night in the courtyard of the Blenda block. Those are the headquarters of the General Army Office and was the heart of military resistance. 200 other co-conspirators also get executed. It is the last known attempt to assassinate Hitler on April 30th, 1945. Hitler committed in the Führer bunker in Berlin. Why did Hitler survive again and again? In old photos and video recordings, we almost always see Hitler walking around alone. That was part of his image as an invincible, untouchable dictator. But in reality, Hitler had made many precautions to protect himself. He had many highly trained bodyguards. A special security service checked all routes and locations meticulously. Before Hitler arrived, his whereabouts were top secret. He was always well protected when he traveled by train car or plane. He had his own pilot and coach. He always had his meals tasted by his personal doctor before he started eating, all to minimize the risk of an assassination. Besides these security precautions, Hitler pursued a special tactic. He allegedly once said, ISIS, which means the only antidote is an unsteady life. He often changed his routes, cancelled trips at short notice, came earlier to meetings than planned, or left events earlier than expected. We don't know if and how a successful assassination would have changed Germany's history. What would have happened if Hitler had just stayed 13 minutes longer in the beer hall? In 1939, could millions of Jews have been saved if one of almost 40 recorded attempts would have succeeded? Or would someone else in the regime simply have taken his place? We will never know.